So how am I doing it? Because we're gonna brush the whole thing.
Yeah. Do you have any ideas?
How you let
To do it.
her come down here and you put her to work
Wants to do it.
doing work on your
The
hair?
little bottom ones are the hard part because she doesn't brush through them all the way all the time, so they dry out the fastest.
It's working fine.
And the underneath has been dyed, so that one is definitely. But it's not as bad as drier. It's not as dry anymore. Yeah, beautiful either way.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of what you got going on over there, kids.
Gotta get this camera set up. Having a good time here with the family. Much needed family time, vacation, enjoying each other's company, especially indoors because it is like, I don't know, it's like 50 something degrees here, windy, and it definitely, like I said before, Florida's not Floridering. It's not ideal spring break weather a week into April, but you know, we'll make the best of it. Put on some hoodies, bundle up, put some pants on instead of some shorts, and go get some hot toddies maybe. Maybe that's the ticket. But interestingly enough, I wanted to share with you all some information, a warning of some sort, an update, breaking news, information that I think is of huge importance and will be very valuable moving forward. A video was shared with me by another YouTube content creator, basically discussing the turnover as the CBDC program, central bank digital currency, the U.S. digital dollar, e-dollar, has begun its process of wiping out paper money, fiat currency, as we once knew it. And begins this month in April with the FedNow program firing up, and it will ultimately go live in July. And this is all, again, a precursor, foreshadowing, preview into central bank digital currency, CBDC, a change of which we all once knew how our monetary system, our bartering tool being the dollar, once was and will forever change and ultimately go away at some point in time in the future. Here, take a look at this clip.
Did you know that you can make a full-time income from YouTube without ever trying to grow your own channel?
You'll be able to tell your kids about how the US dollar was once the strongest currency in the world, and you were there to watch it fall into ruin. You'll be able to explain to your kids that it was all self-inflicted, how arrogance, greed, and bullying led to the collapse. We'll get to that part of the story in a minute. But first, you'll also be able to tell your kids that you were there when they took away paper dollars and coins in favor of a U.S. digital currency. And you'll be correct, because in fewer than 24 hours, the United States dollar changes forever. Tomorrow, the first week of April, the Federal Reserve begins the rollout of their new central bank digital U.S. dollar. That's right. It's called the FedNow program, and it's going to replace your paper currency. Not overnight, but it's moving in that direction. And it will move the United States to a cashless society, a surveillance state where every transaction will be tracked and cataloged, where, as the Fed describes it, money that's in your account can even expire and become unusable. That's right, just like that Red Lobster gift card that you never used. One day you go and try to buy some popcorn shrimp and some Cheddar Bay biscuits, and the gift card doesn't even work anymore. Gone. You can read how the Fed plans to use the expiring money right on the Fed's website. China's already doing it. We already have a template for it. And many U.S. government museums, national parks, historical sites are no longer accepting paper dollars. Many of you have emailed me about this. You've tried to go and actually use dollars at different locations. Sorry, we don't accept cash. Want to go visit the Wright Brothers Museum? Don't bring cash. You'll have to use digital currency. Want to go to Smithsonian? Sorry, no cash. How about Mount Rainier National Park? Sorry, no cash allowed. We only accept digital. And many American businesses have already gone cashless as well. They'll pretend it's all about convenience, But really, it's all about control. The brilliant Catherine Austin Fitts recently described what going cashless would do to all of us.
The reality, as the financial system gets more controlling and more invasive, it's a little bit like bringing up a corral around us. And CBDCs, central bank digital currencies, and vaccine passports or digital IDs are sort of the last shutting of the gate. It's hard for many people to imagine the risks here because we're so used to living with financial transaction freedom. And we don't understand that when this gate closes on us, we literally will be sitting in a system where the central banks believe that our assets belong to them and they can dictate where we can spend money and what we can spend money on.
It's frightening, and she's 100% correct. But that's only part of the story, and perhaps that's the smallest part of the story, if you can believe that. Now to the elephant in the room and the larger reasons we're seeing the decline of the US dollar.
Now, we're not going to watch this entire video now. Although, if you would like me to set up maybe a live stream in the future and react to it, give you my honest opinions about the entire video, because at some point in time, the video switches over into a different talking point, and that is a talking point of preparation for the future. And it has nothing to do with the elimination of the dollar. It has everything to do with the addition and growth and building of more. And I want to talk about that because I think that is what is getting most overlooked and glossed over each and every time we discuss CBDC, FedNow, central bank digital currency, the collapse of the US dollar as a world reserve currency and moving forward. And yes, there is a strong likelihood that the dollar as we once knew it will be no more. The death of the dollar, a majority of us watching this video are capable or potentially likely to see this video based on how the YouTube algorithm serves and recommends and shares it, or how you guys promote this and share it amongst your circle and your network, will likely fall into the category, the group of people who can say, I remember when we used to have paper money. However, I don't know if this is necessarily a bad thing altogether. Yes, having the ability to have discrete transactions and the ability to have discrete transactions and saving money and having a backup plan and different things like that is very, very important. And CBDC is a huge threat against that. But the thought of the evolution of money at this point in time doesn't have to be all bad. And allow me to explain. As I've said before, when that time comes, I would personally much rather be heavy in assets than heavy in cash, especially when we see mentions of central bank digital currency having the ability to expire. Whereas inversely, property, real estate, homes, townhomes, mobile homes, affordable housing, condos, land, developed land, undeveloped land, raw land, real estate in general is an asset. Guess what? Those assets don't expire. Therefore, I don't want to sit and only dwell on the fact that the dollar is going to disappear, because as I've said before, my assets will then develop a new valuation based on the new form of currency or medium of exchange or digital currency or CBDC or token or whatever it may be. Even now today with the dollar still in existence, we could make that same mathematical calculation and valuation in cryptocurrency, in Bitcoin. You guys recall a year ago, 2 years ago, transactions in real estate were being conducted in the form of Bitcoin, BTC. And all it was a new mathematical calculation based on the value of Bitcoin versus the value of the dollar versus the value of the asset at that time and the transaction was made. I mean, real estate in general could be considered that new form of currency, albeit much harder to convert. It's not liquid. The time in which it takes to transfer and the fees associated with attorneys and closing fees and title searches and the list goes on and on, it's not super feasible, but it has been used in the past and it will continue to be used in the future to exchange and or build wealth. However, the downside to anyone who sold real estate using Bitcoin, if they held the Bitcoin, then the Bitcoin is worth less than it was then, today, now. The upside, whoever purchased using Bitcoin got the maximum amount for their money at the time, but still hold the asset. And that asset can be now have a new valuation based on appraised values using US dollars or with Bitcoin. Although the Bitcoin price would be higher because the value of Bitcoin has dropped since then, it's all math. It's all numbers. It's all about calculations. And that's what's most important, because even if we lose the dollar, even if we go to a central bank digital currency, even if we decide to go 100% XRP, Ripple, ETH, Bitcoin, Dogecoin, Shiba, altcoin, doesn't matter. Stablecoin, it doesn't matter. I know all these aren't coins. I'm just saying, no matter what we decide, even if we decided to sell and exchange and barter and trade and conduct business with cartons of eggs or loaves of bread or gallons of water or gallons of fuel, gasoline, diesel, kilowatt hours and electricity, it doesn't matter. The key is there's always going to be some medium of exchange. What's most important is having the ability to continuously produce more, to earn, to build, to grow that medium of exchange. So when I see videos shared and headlines and stories and urgent breaking news announcements and updates about the dollar being wiped out, BRICS wiping out the dollar, the death of the dollar, why CBDC is going to kill the dollar, cancel the dollar, how Biden is destroying the dollar, how, the US dollar is no longer a world reserve currency leader and has been exploited and manipulated and abused to the point of which it holds really no value whatsoever. Inflation is unbelievably high, and, other countries don't even want to use the dollar anymore. That is it's just a flashing beacon further confirming my theory, my thought process, my plan and my strategy that I need to up my asset game, because they're not saying that real estate, the death of the real estate, Chinese investors, Chinese citizens looking to travel and relocate to the United States, where are they gonna live? Real estate, houses, apartments, condos, townhomes, villas, wherever. Buy land, buy farmland, buy raw land, buy developed land, buy hotels, buy shopping centers, buy open air malls. It doesn't matter. They're not saying that real estate's going to go away. The death of real estate, although depending on what channels you watch, the housing market, real estate market is going to crash. It's a topic of discussion for another video. But at the end of the day, if the dollar does diminish and or is eliminated and goes away completely, there will be a new medium of exchange, a new currency, a new fiat money, whatever it is, whatever it may be, and whatever assets you have will then be revalued and still hold value to others. And instead of being paid in dollars, maybe you get paid in XRP. Maybe you get paid in BTC. Maybe you get paid in CBDC. Maybe you get paid in who knows what it may be. But if you don't have the assets, nor do you have the assets that can produce the cash flow, nor do you have the assets that can increase in value, nor do you have the ability to produce more, nor do you have a portfolio of a diverse strategy, which includes multiple different types of investments, then every dollar you have could potentially be at risk. And then you will be subject and limited by the future of CBDC or whatever new form takes hold through FedNow and ISO 20022 and central bank digital currency and Executive Order 14067. That's going to be the biggest risk. That's the most important warning and urgent message and breaking news that you guys need to hear, is that assets are key. Cash flow producing assets are very important. Appreciating assets are going to be vital, no matter what happens with BRICS, no matter what happens with China, Russia, US dollars, whatever. Notice I'm not saying gold, because gold is kind of, in my opinion, sits in its own little special category, which is very important and a reason behind why those looking to dethrone the dollar have purchased tons and tons, hundreds of tons, thousands of tons, unimaginable amounts of gold. Why? Because gold, precious metal, hard asset, is going to back the new currency. However, much like other assets, they can back the transactions. So I would much rather have a diverse position and strategy, ability to pivot, and have backup plans and safety nets and safety measures in place through gold, physical assets, real estate, cash flow producing assets, appreciating assets, than dollars. I told you guys before, I'm not worried about the banks. I'm not afraid of the banks. I'm not worried about my money. I'm not afraid of a collapse of the dollar. I'm not afraid of any of it, because I don't have my dollars in places that are vulnerable and at risk. Because in their own form of physical paper money, they are extremely at risk. They suffer the most loss in terms of inflation. If you put them in the bank, albeit FDIC insured, they take a hit against inflation, because even high yield savings accounts bring back very little in return. And speaking of which, FDIC is an insurance company, folks. And much like I brought to you yesterday a clip from Chris Igo's video stating that Ron DeSantis himself has stated that Citizens Insurance doesn't have the liquid assets and capital available to cover the claims that they would experience during the 2023 hurricane season. What good is insurance if they can't afford to make you whole? Folks, I hope that this message is clicking. I hope it's connecting with you. If you've got questions, drop them down in the comment section below. Wherever you look, whatever you watch, whatever you read, whatever you hear, whatever you see, there are a lot of factors out there today that are poised, positioned to likely and potentially wipe out people in a variety of different ways. Global conflicts, food shortages and insecurity, tornadoes, hurricanes, deadly weather, the economy, the jobs market, the banks, real estate, the value of the dollar, global currency, central bank digital currency. They are all important. They all need to be addressed. But I think that the most important part about it all is understanding what is and what could be, and then strategizing and planning accordingly to prepare for it so you don't just get wiped out if and or when any of these or all of these extinction level events could potentially happen. Just the other day, yesterday, I saw a few videos from G.I. Justin and other creators. My brother as well posted videos about this new Marburg virus that is likely to cause a widespread catastrophic pandemic that would make C-19 look like a runny nose, basically. And yeah, add that to the list too, folks. But at the end of the day, we need to be educated. We need to be informed. We need to be knowledgeable so that we can understand the threats that are out there potentially on the horizon that we may come across at some point in time. But before that happens, we've already got a plan in place for it. Stay healthy, stay safe, stay educated, stay prepared, stay connected. Yeah, sure. At some point in time, maybe we have an outage, a grid interruption where you can't go to YouTube. You can't go to social media. You can't go to a text message or anything like that to get access to information and updates and knowledge and education. But perhaps maybe there's another way to stay connected. There's not a one-size-fits-all solution to all problems that could potentially be out there, which I'm not trying to only highlight the problems. I'm not trying to promote fear. I'm not trying to monger. I'm not trying to do any of the catchy phrases that are all blocked in the comments filters for these videos. But I am trying to let you guys know that this is the world that we live in. And yes, there are numerous threats, but there are also numerous solutions and multiple ways of being successful and planning, preparing, protecting, ways in which you can set yourself up, your family, your business, your friends to survive and thrive on the other side if you so choose.